Let the dragon consume you! Enemy sighted. Stop the payload! Stop the payload! In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
The Birdwatcher's back at it one more time. Here's your host, Ryan and Clay. They're about to bring you some sweet, sweet Overwatch action.
All right, welcome back. How are you, sir?
I'm doing good, man. As we promised, we're back, right? So
Yeah.
no more month break in between episodes.
Yeah, that's right, man. Staying consistent.
Yeah, give the people what they want.
Ryan, I forgot to mention I need next month off. Paid. I need it paid, dude.
Paid month off.
I know we don't get paid now, but this next one
I
needs
feel
to be
you.
paid.
I feel you. I'll think about it. I'll get back to you. My secretary will get back to you.
Perfect.
But yeah, man. So this time we're gonna kind of go. We're doing one match, but it's a very important one, which is Runaway versus Element Mystic.
Yeah,
It feels
this
like
one
we-
was.
yeah.
Oh, I was
no,
gonna say, this
I was-
one was
yeah.
live, right? So
Oh yeah.
the one we watched before,
Yeah.
obviously, was done over the internet. This one was
Exactly.
live, had a full packed crowd. Man, they said it sold out within moments.
Oh, of course. Those fans they don't play around. Like it's crazy to see that Runaway support stick with the organization, and with these new guys because you can feel it, right? Like it's having a brand new team. That's one thing to note. Is Runaway's a completely new team. I mean, Element Mystic is close to being a brand new team. I think they have like one or two people. I know Sparkle has been on the team for a bit, and then Xe or Z. I usually just call him Z. Has been on the team for a little bit longer than everybody else, but the other guys are kind of new. So it's a bunch of new guys up here fighting for this championship.
Yeah, and man, both these teams look really good. And these guys, I'm sure these teams are just feeding these guys to the Overwatch League, right?
Of course.
We're going to see these guys, mid-season probably?
Yeah.
They're already talking about trying people out for Runaway. Not any spoilers. I mean, they're very good. Obviously, we'll see a lot of these guys play in Overwatch League.
Exactly. But first, as always, we're going to start with news. So as for now, our reminder, the Atlanta Rain Watch Party. So everybody who's local or close to local, just a reminder, it's all ages, February 15th. So the day after Valentine's Day is that Friday. And it's at Battle and Brew, starting at 7 o'clock. So if anyone can make it through, we're all going to be there. And it's going to be crazy. We're going to be loud. People are going to be looking over there, and people might come join us. It's happened before. So we're going to take over that night. So it should be fun. But outside that, to more regular news, or actually some surprising news before we get into that, Clay's going to start streaming.
I am, yeah. Hopefully this Monday I've been testing some stuff out, and I'm going to do some more testing this weekend. It's going to kind of be all over Elo-wise, from 3,700 to about 4.1, just whatever I'm feeling that day. If I'm having a shitty day, I like to hop on something a little bit lower, play around.
Yeah.
Or if I just want to play DPS that day, because I can't play DPS with the big dogs. I have to stick to the main tank or the off-tank role. I just can't keep up, man. Genji gets on me as Hanzo. I'm freaking out. So, yeah, just kind of all over the place. So, yeah, starting Monday around 10 Central to about 2:30 that afternoon before I have to go into the shop.
All right, that's good to know. And we're going to have Birdwatcher's Twitch set up for that as well. So keep an eye out for details. I'll keep people posted all over about that when you're up there. And you're focusing. So like, do you consider yourself a tank main now?
Yes, for the most part. Like the
Okay.
higher elo stuff, I'll be playing. Diva. No, I don't know about Diva right now. I didn't get to play her at all today.
It's not that bad.
We'll get to the other news, obviously.
I've had a few misclicks where I'm like, oh yeah, that's right, fuck, and then I die.
Yeah. So
with the armor changes, and we'll get into it, and the defensive matrix changes. It's kind of different. So it takes some getting used to.
This will be non-informational stream. It'll be what an old man looks like when he gets frustrated.
And just constantly sweating.
Yeah,
constantly
just a sweaty,
moist.
old, bald man. You're gonna wonder if I'm actually playing because I don't look like I do.
We got to get you a Atlanta Rain hat, man.
Yeah, cover up this shiner, man. It's no joke.
But yeah, so actual news for the Lunar New Year event started today, the day we're recording this. Originally, it was mainly that big armor patch that we spoke about in the past that was on PTR, and they combined it with the Lunar New Year.
Yep.
Which has a bunch of cool skins in it, so check it out if you haven't.
Yeah, I like these skins. I don't know how you feel about them. They're pretty cool.
I think they've made this shift where they're no longer doing the base. You remember they used to have those cheap skins that were kind of just recolors?
Yeah.
Well, I think because now they have so many league teams, and people, when they want a recolor skin, just want a team skin they want to rep.
Sure.
Now they're focusing on the mid-high to high-tier skins. And putting the effort in to not waste everybody's time, right?
Yeah, because these guys, like Reinhardt doesn't look like Reinhardt. He looks like a totally different person. Hanzo is kind of the same with giant beard. It's like this doesn't look like Hanzo, but it is Hanzo. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's great. So we'll go over the details really quickly since we spoke about this in the past when it was on the PTR. So in this patch, you have the Brogan nerf to her rally, which is the duration of, it now has a duration of 30 seconds, and it decays over that time frame. So after 30 seconds, it doesn't just disappear, right? If I remember correctly, I think it decays.
Correct.
Okay, and then we have Diva with the defensive matrix change, which is now from 1 second to 2 second delay in between clicking your button for it to activate. And it's a big difference. It's one of those things where, I mean, a big difference in the case of you need to get used to it because there's certain, I guess, play styles and opportunities you may think you have that you don't anymore, and you need to be more selective on what you're using your defensive matrix for. It reminds me of going to this next one where Reaper got this huge lifesteal buff, which is across the board made him better. It's one of those cases where, like, for now you have to treat McCree's flashbang different because it's very important, especially if they have a Reaper. So the same thing with Diva, or you got to treat it like a flashbang rather than just always thinking you have it.
Yeah, absolutely right. Definitely more skill rewarding because a lot of the times you throw out a matrix, you might accidentally catch something. I mean, we're not talking high noons, but we're talking about random grabs. Those never feel good. You're like, what? He wasn't even looking at me. Just a random eat. But yeah, a lot more skill rewarding. You're going to have to really focus in on what you're going to, DM.
Yeah. And I think, this kind of puts Diva in this is pretty much her, I want to say, third debuff over the course of the game's life, and with the armor reduction, which I didn't talk about. So damage reduced, or damage reduction from armor reduced. I think they probably should have stated that differently, since that's very confusing.
That's ridiculous. Yeah. I don't even know what you said.
Essentially, the amount of damage that's reduced by armor is, instead of it being -5, it's -3. So you get a +2 on that math there, because it's not just a raw value. So it affects characters that do bits of damage fast, like Tracer, differently than it does your burst damage, like Hanzo, right? Or your exactly. So that's in there now. So I think the combination of that and Diva's straight up debuff has made it kind of interesting.
We'll
things
see where
melt,
she
man.
plays out for sure.
I mean, Tank was already hard to play, mainly because of CC, but this kind of puts it over the top. So, going back to you streaming as a Tank main, it should be interesting to see.
Oh, yeah, this is going to be an adult-only stream.
Exactly.
A lot of foul language. Let's just put it out there.
We need to do a profanity jar.
I'll be poor. Do I have to put money into it? I'll be fucked. Yeah.
But yeah, so let's hop into our standings portion.
Yeah.
And we mentioned a couple of these, since the Contenders is staggered. We mentioned a couple of these earlier, but we're just going to go through all of them so you know how everything worked out. So for the Australia region, Sydney Drop Bears are your champions. Once again, I think that makes them a 3-time champions as well. Similar to Fusion University, who's your North American champion, which I think they're 3 times as well. So props to those two. For China, T1W Esports Club came out on top here. And it kind of they were dominant throughout that bracket. And then Team Gigante for Europe is your region champion. And Clay, hold on to the seat of your pants here. Your Pacific champion is Hong Kong Attitude.
Ooh, there was no doubt in my mind, really.
I feel like, I'm surprised you didn't put money down, because I would have owed you another beer.
You could have had anybody on that team with a name like that.
Yeah,
people are folding.
That being said, I haven't asked. Are you coming to the event?
Which one?
The watch event, the first one.
Oh, in February.
Yeah, man.
I'm gonna try. That's
okay.
definitely the plan.
It's still on the table?
Yeah, it is still
Okay,
on the
so
table.
here's the deal. So I owe Clay so much liquor since we started this show.
That's what I'm actually more scared about that.
I'm just going to open the tab at Battle and Brew and say, this guy drinks for free.
I won't be able to walk out. I'll be stuck there.
Exactly. You have the whole weekend. You got to stay the whole weekend.
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
And then, but for South America, we have LFT OWL coming out over Blank Base Tryhards here, which, man, that was kind of an upset that people expected. You know, Base Tryhards, it's noble what they've done coming from the whole situation with that org breaking down because everybody left and so on and so forth. But LFT, you know, a team we looked at the beginning of the season on one of our episodes. It's cool to see them come out on top here.
Yeah, absolutely. This, man, I cannot wait to see more Australian players, Latin American players. Especially because we watched these earlier in the season.
Exactly.
Dude, a lot of talent, man.
Yeah.
A lot of talent.
Yeah, it's crazy because like when you watched, you know, Korea, which we haven't told you who won that one yet because that's what we're doing today is the finals for the Korea region. But when you look at Korea, it's almost a foregone conclusion like most of these guys are going to make it, right? Rightfully so. But when you look at these other areas, it's definitely cool to think about, man, this guy could definitely make it in the league, or this guy from over here can make it in the league. And, you know, as things get better, because there's a lot more news we kind of left out, and we'll get to it in later episodes, it seems like the support's coming back for Contenders, or they're figuring out how they want to mold it and what purpose they want it to serve, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
As tier 2. That being said, let's get into it.
Yeah.
So our first and final game of this episode is going to be Element Mystic versus Runaway. And, you know, this is, I want to say a rivalry. It's kind of two teams that have been in the finals before and have had choking moments. Element Mystic known for kind of, you know, falling behind and not performing at their peak when they're in these situations. Runaway has done in the past, even though they are your Season 2 champions. In the episode, we talked about how great that match was. That was the one that went to 8, right? That went to 8 maps, if I remember correctly.
Yep, Season 2, yeah.
Yeah, insane. But here's a couple notes. You know, like Element Mystic is coming into this match undefeated on Control and Assault this season. So that's, you know, that's amazing. And we talked about Runaway and Element Mystic kind of being whole new teams here. So you have the org themselves kind of being the being celebrated, like the fans are there for the orgs because there's new guys, right?
Right.
We'll hop into our first one. So Busan, Element Mystic here kind of shows out. They start off very strong here. Hanbin remains high energy, and Sparkle. So Sparkle's been the guy this season that everybody's been talking about because his Doomfist is insane to the point. Yeah, to the point to where Element Mystic has been known for their GOATS comp they've been running, which has, instead of Diva, they just use Doomfist. They have Sparkle and Doomfist. So they have Ryan, Zarya, Doom, Brogan, Zen, Lucio. And on this first Sanctuary round of Busan, you can see how devastating Sparkle is.
Yeah, it's like a missile. He launches himself in there, pinpoints one target.
Yeah.
We've talked about it, obviously, in the past. With Goats, you have to be almost like a collective unit, and when he dislodges somebody, man, it's like a panic. You know, you can almost see him like trying to get back to the herd. It's like a lion. Do lions hunt? I don't know.
I think, you know, you're on the right track.
Yeah, they pull one down. And they try to get.
They pick their time to strike, right? And that's kind of what's great watching him. The perspective view usually sits on him the majority of this round, and it's a great way to see kind of how he thinks on when to go in, when to come out, how to do damage while his cooldowns are on, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, in this first one, and that's not him. It's like Hanbin here. And we apologize for any mispronunciations. We're trying our best here. But he's high energy the majority of this, and then Sparkle's just kind of shredding the back line. So there's no real place for Runaway to get their feet set, and they're never able to catch back up on economy.
Oh, yeah. The ult advantage Element Mystic's way was so high. It seemed like, I think Runaway got one grab this entire first map. They were so far behind. You would look over, you're like, holy shit, dude, they're like 30%, 40%. What have they been doing this whole time? And that was getting farmed.
Exactly. And then we move to Mecha Base, and Runaway steps up to the plate, and they start strong, which kind of gives them an advantage. They never give Element Mystic a chance to get their feet set, right? And QOQ here has two big bombs, two big 3K bombs to be exact, and this keeps the momentum in their favor. And you have their Zen, Gangnam Jin is just on fire, fragging out. So it's a good way for them to turn around. And I'll mention kind of the composure here of both teams from the live cam afterwards, because I feel like it plays into this, right? So
absolutely.
We then move into downtown, where Element Mystic gets an early start here, and they keep the momentum in their favor, and they end up taking it 1-0 by taking this map. So after Busan, and I mean, did you see anything in those last two rounds that kind of stood out to you?
No, just an overall, and we had talked about this before the cast.
Mm-hmm.
This felt like a different, when we watch, obviously, the North American region. Korea Overwatch is so methodical, so thought out. Where you see Atlanta and it being very aggressive, just slamming into your face. These fights are so methodical. Just the picks it's crazy. It was just, it was crazy to watch.
Yeah, and one thing is after this, this loss of this map, they cut to Runaway, and they're all kind of still in good light. Like they're happy. They're still kind of like, okay, what we could do. They're communicating and they're high fiving and all that stuff because they're prepping for the next match. You have Flowervin coming out. You have the rest of the team coming out, and they seem like they haven't, just because they lost that round or that map, didn't put them down.
Where they very important too, for sure.
They cut to Element Mystic, and granted, they just won this one, right? And they're stone faced.
Yeah,
like they're very serious. And this kind of showed throughout the interview phase as well, because they like to do big events for the Korea Contenders and handle it like a true finals. So they had performances, they had interviews with the players, they asked some questions and stuff like that. And even there, they seemed kind of disconnected or very like serious in what was going on.
Yeah, definitely a little bit more nervous. One of the guys who looked like me, they panned over and he was just bullets of sweat.
Yeah,
like, gee, yeah, dude.
Which makes sense. I mean, they're
absolutely.
Newer,
I'd be scared out of my mind.
So we we go to our next map here, which is Numbani. And we start off with Runaway on attack, and they start strong, right? They just fly through point 1 and 2, but they do stall at point 3. And then after a few fights, they're able to cap fully with 1:30 remaining. This puts us to Element Mystics with their Sombra dive comp, and it seems like this catches Runaway completely off guard, and they're not ready for it. And then EM, they keep that momentum all the way through, and they end up capping with 4 minutes because they're just like, Runaway on that third point, they were a couple fights there that they just kind of dropped. So a little bit of poor ult management. So Element Mystic kind of has it in their favor here. So we move into round 2, and Runaway's able to push all the way through point 2 in overtime. So granted, you think that Element Mystic will be able to do this without an issue. So they do the same thing this time, where they go Sombra dive, but Runaway's prepared for it, like really prepared for it. They end up going Sombra Vara this time instead of trying to stick to that Sombra Goats comp they were trying to run in the first attempt. And then after, plenty of failed attempts, Element Mystic is forced to swap to Goats. They do end up capping point 1, but they're never able to catch back up on Autoconomy and get through streets to cap where Runaway left off, and Runaway ends up taking this map 1-1. I'm going to put this one as map of the match.
This one was great, man.
Yeah.
But because of how big the time difference was going into the second attacks for both teams, it is crazy. I don't know. What really stuck out to me is the lack of follow-up on the EMPs. I don't know if people are just not on both sides throughout the entire. Whenever we see a Sombra, we barely get to see some big team wipes with the EMPs. It almost just seems like because when Element Mystic is attempting to attack their second time, they land what looked like a decent EMP, but it only gets like one person, no follow-through. Shatter is the same way. They land a big Shatter, no follow-through. So just a little frazzled there towards the end.
Yeah. So we moved to Lunar Colony, and this is an interesting match as well. This is one place, this whole match, we're seeing a lot of Sombra dive, which we haven't seen, in this kind of capacity in a while. And we do get to also see high ground comp here. So Runaway on defense, they run high ground comp, but immediately, Element Mystics kind of break through it, and they're able to cap point one fairly quickly. So, them on attack, they haven't been having trouble with those initial points getting capped and then moving forward. But then they move to defense on point two. And this isn't map of the match, but you need to go watch this Runaway defense. It is absolutely insane that they're able to hold this out with 0 ticks. So like it's a case in fundamentals, if you want to say that, right?
Yeah, just cleaning the point up at that point. A big play that saved them from what looked like it was going to be the point where you start cleaning up the last or two, couple people on the point, the supports or something like that, where they can start to get some percentage of the point. Mag charges in, hits the Lucio, turns around, swings on the Zenyatta, takes out 2 immediately, and that was it. That was one guy just charging in. Maybe a lucky pin, but regardless, it stopped him. Yeah,
so one factor that's big here is Hisu on Zarya, where he's constantly high energy, and this is like a little bit over 4 minute hold, I believe, 4 or 5 minutes. And he's constantly high energy, and that plays a big factor into them being able to demech D.Va and so on and so forth. So we move to defense here. Element Mystic, they go for the Bastion comp because they need to burn time, right? Because they don't have enough room because they got 0 ticks on it. And that's another part about that Runaway defense is watching how, like, who's on the point to make sure, like, during these fights and when they're delaying, when they're stalling, to make sure that Element Mystic doesn't cap. That was a part of the factor of them holding as well. But yeah, the desperate Bastion comp doesn't work here. Runaway breaks through, and they're able to close this one out to make it 2-1 to start this first half of the match off.
They were very composed there towards the end, where it was getting to a couple minutes left. They really needed to get that tick, man. They just hold all their ultimates at one point where you look over at Element Mystic, no ultimates, in the bank at all, and they just waited for all 6. Everybody hit Q. It was a pretty good team wipe.
Yeah. So we went to Dorado, which is the Atlanta Rain home map, just to remind you all, or the Atlanta Academy. Sorry, my bad. It's going to be Atlanta Rain's home map too. It better be.
That's right.
We need to claim it. So this is the part where I talk about body language, right? So we have a cut to the live cam because this is essentially where the halftime is, since this is a 7 map, first to 4 series. And you can see that Runaway obviously is in good spirits. They just went on a 2-map run since that first loss. And Element Mystic still looks down. Like, they didn't look happy when they won. They don't look happy when they lost, right?
Yeah.
And the coaches kind of seem the same way. Like, the people who are coming out and talking, it's a case where this whole aura of just like a dour, I don't know if anything happened or, if people were getting kind of not disciplined, but if there was a pressure put on them, but they all look like there's a huge weight on their shoulders, and it's kind of hard to watch because Runaway is the complete opposite.
Yeah, they're pepped up, man. They need a hype man over there at Element Mystic. Just put my name out there, guys, if you need somebody.
Wait. How's your Korean?
It won't be in Korean. That's the thing. It's going to be just positive, English.
Hype.
Hype
has no language barriers.
Yeah, but I mean, in all seriousness, man, that new Bonnie was, after that, it seemed rough. You're right, though. The first couple maps, they did look a little sour, but Nimbani, probably bad taste in the mouth, man. That was a for sure win for them. They should have locked up, and then after that, it just kind of went downhill, right?
Yeah, exactly. And, so they start off Dorado here. So Element Mystic starts off, and they have, like, a good approach, and they're executing their plan very well. It's just that Runaway's pulling off some insane, like, comebacks in fights, like where they're swinging fights back in their favor. They're using respawn to their advantage, even though at this point you don't have a respawn advantage on defense. It's very interesting to watch. A lot of that plays into QOQ on D.Va here. And, so we have point 1. They get point 1, not fairly easy, but then after that, their momentum is just like they have none. And it stalls out in streets. And streets is hard. Like, if you get stopped in the streets without getting around that second bend, it's very difficult.
Yeah, absolutely. Because your respawn timer starts to get almost equal.
Yep.
If you start getting a little bit closer, they're starting to come back at the same time.
Exactly.
And that comp that they were running at the very beginning was so fucking sweet.
Yeah.
The Sombra Genji dive, it was awesome.
Yeah.
And then I guess one push into Streets, they're like, nah, we need to go back to what we know. We need to go back to the Ghost. I think they could have pushed it. Just
keep the comp.
Yeah, just keep going with it. I mean, they complain, or not complain, the commentators pointed out QOQ has all this high ground advantage. He's pumping out a ton of damage. You look at his ultimate over Element Mystic's Diva. I can't remember who at the time, because it wasn't Sparkle, it was Hanbin, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Or Hanbin. He can't really go up there and pressure him because of if he gets out of mech, the fight's over. So I don't know. I think they should have stuck to their guns, just pressured the high ground and forgot about the Reinhardt.
Yeah. I think that would have been a good plan as well. So we swapped to, they get barely through Streets, and then we swap to Runaway here, and they start off with a sweet combo, which is just the halt hook combo with Hanzo. And the whole goal here is, because they know Element Mystic has to play for straight up, right? They have to play very close because they don't have enough room. They're saying, okay, well, if we can spawn, get a hook, get a pick, then we play one man up. They just swap to goats after that. Or if they don't get the hook and halt combo, then they just swap anyway. So it's a win-win. Yeah. And it works out here. They're able to just delete Unique's Lucio, because he's wall riding, and right when they spawn out, he's on one of the side of the buildings, and they get him, and they take him out, and then they start up one man advantage. And it's prop to Element Mystic here, because after they get the respawn on Unique, he died on Lucio, right? He'll be back soon. They do put up a fight on this first point, but unfortunately, Runaway is able to break through it. The defensive effort was great, but it's just one of those things where I feel like the momentum was in their favor, and then Mag on Reinhardt had an insane shatter, and he's had some pretty good ones throughout these maps, but here it was this
game especially, man.
I think he got knocked back on this shatter. He got knocked back and midair, and then he lined it up and got it down.
Yeah,
undercard.
Yeah, the first shatter they got up there on the stairs on point one was a bash shatter, and it was after Element Mystic had invested a Zari as well. So it looked like they were about to wipe them, and they just threw a quick bash shatter in there. It didn't look like they were ready for it. They're like, oh, well, these, Runaway's about to wipe. We don't need to kind of let their guns down a little bit.
Guns or guard?
Guns or, I don't know. Is it guns? I thought it was let your guns down.
Oh, it's let your guard down.
Oh.
But I like that one. Let your guns down.
Yeah, like you're in a duel or something.
Yeah, man.
Like the Old West.
Then we move into Lijiang here. So control map in the middle. And they sub in Alpha for, I think it's Takayaki.
Yeah, Takayaki.
Yeah, if I remember correctly. But it doesn't make the difference. I mean, he's coming in cold after all this time. Runaway's obviously on a mean streak here, and we start off with Gardens, and they have 100-0 win there, and then we move into Night Market, and QOQ just goes off. He continues to have these insane bombs, and then they're just back-to-back champions. It's that easy.
Yeah, dude, that last map was rough.
Dude,
Did you ever play baseball?
Yeah, way back, middle school.
Pulling Takayaki out for Alpha, is it one of those moments where you've pitched so poorly? And they walked the mound and everybody's looking at you? It's got to feel bad, right?
Yeah.
I mean, he didn't play bad. I don't think switching him out there at the end was a good call. I don't know. He was doing fine. He was, I don't know. He was getting shattered a lot.
Yeah, because it kind of feels like it's not. It feels like you're giving up. It feels like when you put in, it's like, okay, well, we're gonna lose. Let's put in some of the fresh guys to get them some stage experience, to get them some. It's funny. You talk about hype guy. When Alpha came out, he was all smiles. He was joking around. He was patting his teammates on the back, and he looked like the personality of the team.
Let's get him back into it.
Exactly. And it was almost like, well, that guy might need to be out there from the get-go to keep everybody. Yeah. It reminds me like a Mickey or, Custo, or these people who keep everybody up in spirits, or SBB during the times when you're getting rolled, right? Because it happens. It happens here. And that's what it feels like, is like you said, like you're just getting beat up. You're getting beat up. And Runaway's the favorite not only because, I mean, the fans, they won last year. and they've kind of always made an appearance as in some factor in the playoffs. So,
yeah.
Do
you think this is a different game if it is online?
Oh yeah, because that might be a thing soon. Nah.
You don't think so?
Oh well, you know what? You mentioned that because the crowd does play a big factor. We've heard players talk about that in the Overwatch League, where it's such a different environment from anything you're in, that not only are you on LAN, so you don't have that lag issue, but you have all these screaming fans. Yes, they have the soundproof stuff to an extent, but the lights, the energy, like this physical energy presence you can feel in the building. And as dedicated as Korean fans are, I could see it being a big factor.
Yeah. I think Runaway fed on it where Element Mystic it kind of brought them down. Obviously, the fan base was a little bit different. It's almost one of those things where it's like the Super Bowl. You sell a certain amount of tickets to one half of fans and the other half to the other half, right? So you have a good representation of the crowd, because this was a Runaway crowd, for sure.
Yeah, and they got a lot of new. I mean, they were already huge, and they got a lot of new fans from being the underdogs, and then they got fans from winning, and then the whole Flowervin story and the whole Runaway story. Like, it was just this Cinderella thing that happened. So,
and Vancouver was there as well.
Yes, they were there to cheer him on.
Yeah.
So yeah, that being said, both teams had a hell of a season, but Runaway take it 4-1 here to be your season 3 Contenders champs. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I kind of expected them to win.
You expected Runaway to win?
Yeah. I mean, that momentum.
I did too. I think going into it, I don't know. After watching game 1, they looked so disheveled by Sparkle on the Doomfist. I was like, oh, this is going to be something they're going to have to figure out. But they don't really get back to the Doomfist until, map 3 or 4? We don't really get to see them switch it up. Obviously, we see some Sombra. We see some, we saw Pharmacy a little bit on Numbani. So they did do other things besides goats.
Yeah.
But not high impact stuff like the Doomfist was.
That's a great thing to point out is if you want to see not all goats, this match had plenty of, variety as far as what we got to see.
Yeah, even maps where they did play goats, it was other comps as well mixed in there. Yeah. Because they would switch it up constantly. Yeah. It was definitely a great,
blended
couple maps of Overwatch for sure.
Yeah, it was enjoyable. But that being said, so no closing comments from my side. Next, what are we gonna do next? Because we got a little bit of time before. I mean, we're sitting here counting down the days to February. It's right around the corner, man. Like, 2 weeks, 3 weeks?
Yeah, I was gonna say 20 days, 19 days. I think I saw last time. I may be completely wrong. It's not very long though.
Dude, I can't wait to see the view numbers. I feel like this has been this boiling pot, and considering that we already exceeded expectations last year, and now that everybody knows it's coming.
Yeah, and we are on current patch. We will see the updated patch from what we have on live, right? Going into the season. Exactly. So we'll probably cover one of. You know what? Do you want to cover the Hong Kong Attitude Finals? Yeah, sounds good. All right. Dope. I definitely want to see how they play. I've been backing them this whole time. Yeah, we promised it. Let's do it. So that being said, absolutely. You guys can always reach us, Gmail at thebirdwatcherspodcast@gmail.com. Follow us on Twitter if you can, at the Birdwatcher Podcast, where Watcher is spelled WATCH. Oh, sorry, WATCH 3R. And we're on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and we're on the competitive Reddit at the Birdwatchers. Join if you haven't. There's plenty of discussions going on there, and it just gets faster and faster. It's cool because somebody posted. I mean, recently we've had Fanatics post where they're asking people what kind of gear they wanted. Right? They want to know what kind of gear they wanted, how people play the game, people like Overwatch, why people play it. We've had a lot of coaches getting involved. IOStux is on there. Bare Hands will hop in there from time to time. Jane will comment from time to time. You just have a lot of people in the community, players as well, or in the community and players and teams alike that are in there being active. So, one thing that happens is as fans, we sometimes get in our own head and we kind of come to these conclusions with our limited visibility on what's going on. And then having those people kind of be like, well, not so much. Here's what we think or what we can tell you. It helps form actual opinions that are based on actual information, right? Yeah, absolutely.
So that's what makes it great. It's funny because people say that you should be on Twitter following people and you should be on competitive Reddit having discussions because those two pieces together give you the full picture.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah. But yeah, that's it for me. Do you have anything to say to these kind folks?
Tune in Monday.
Yeah.
Watch me get really upset. really
wait.
upset.
It's gonna be fun.
It's gonna be rough.
All right. Thanks for listening, guys. Until next time.
Yeah, thank you.